So I have the same project we did yesterday, which is Cat API. I name it a different name. But actually, let me go to the project itself so you'll not get confused. Cat API. Let's click on that. Click on that. Now, we need to know how to debug our Node application, because if we were not able to debug our Node application, each time we face a small problem, I mean, our application will not work. As you see in the front end, debugging is very important tool, and you spend a lot of time debugging. Now, for debugging, I've already put some setting for you here. As you can see in .vs Code, you have launch.json. So we have some setting here, and I explain this setting for you. Also in the readme.md is explaining what they are. But what simply they are doing here, what type of application we are debugging? It's Node application. What's the name of so what's the request we are launching a program? What's the name of the program? You can name it whatever you want. I just name it launch program. Some file we don't want to debug. For example, node module, stuff like that. Anything we did not write, we shouldn't debug it. For example, I don't want to go inside Express and debug Express because Express is already a package. It's written. I shouldn't debug Express. Restart. Can I restart my, if I want to restart the debugging, can I do that? Yes. Which file I am trying to debug? So the main file the debugging will start in is called index.js because my server here is index.js. So all the time the debugging, it will start from this file. After that, if I go click on here, what runtime we are using? Of course, we are using NodeMoon. Why NodeMoon? Because as I told you, like that, I can make some changes while I am debugging. So if I find any error, I can just fix it directly. And NodeMoon, it will auto restart it for me. Where should I where should I see this debugging tool? Normally, the debugging, as you can see, we have debugging console. And if you are not using this setting here, which is called cancel this one, it will normally show you in the debugging console. And now for me, I don't like that. I want to see it in the terminal here, where I'm used to open. Again, if you don't like it this way, it's fine. But I think those sitting here, all you have to do, just copy paste them. They're simple setting. You should have them all the time. Click. What you need to understand while debugging your codes, that debugging always starts from this file here. So as I told you, this file is very important. The order of this file is quite important because now whenever the user sends a request, it will go from top to bottom here, and the order does matter. The order is quite important. And here you go log, and here is my API. Now, most of the time, our bug, it will be not in this file here really, because it will be mostly here in the route if I have a problem. Now, what I'm going to do here, while I'm debugging, I will stop everything. So I will stop, I will not, if I am running already npm running dev, I need to stop it. So I will stop it here. Why? Because the debugger has its own server and it will run everything for you. So that's fine. So I'm stopping everything, and now I want to debug. Of course, if I want to debug, let me just check which port it is. I think it was 5004, let's say. Let me just go to my Chrome here, click on this one, and just type localhost and get. Let's try to do that. Of course, now currently, as you know, I have nothing because my server is not running. So first, I need to know where's the request I am sending. So here, as you can see, I'm sending a request to /API/get. Let's say I am sending a request here and I'm getting nothing. So I need to identify at least which route I'm trying to hit. So it's API/get. So I can go to my route here and think logically, okay, where is /API? Of course, we have API here because we have API in our main server. So everything, it will be /API, as you know. So I will have /API and I will go to my route /get. Okay, I'm trying to hit this route. Okay, if I hit this route, that means which function it will be executed.
Get
Do you
all.
understand? Get all. So now what I can do, I can directly go to my controller here because my controller, it will be the brain. Don't forget the controller, if they need, will call the model. If they will need, they will call the view. So they will call everything. So that's the important point. I need now to go here and find get all. So let me go to get all here. Voila. So I have a problem with this guy here, which is get all. So what I need to do here, I need to go inside the function and put a breakpoint here. To put a breakpoint, all I have to do, I will go to the first line inside the function, not here, because you are not inside the function. I will click here. Voila. So that's my breakpoint. Then I will go to debugging. So I will click on this one. And here, as you can see, I already have my setting launch program. Why it's called launch program? Well, simply because I name it launch program, as you can see. So the name here is launch program. Okay, fine. Let me get rid of this one. Let me go here and let me click on launch program. Notice what will happen when I click on that. Click. So when I do that, see, I have launch program. And as you can see, my server is already starting. My debugger server is already starting. And if you read here, launch program cat API EGS. So now I am in debug mode. So all I have to do now, I can go to my Explorer and I can go back to here and I have a breakpoint here. So what do I want to know to do? Of course, when I have my debugger, I will have this different tool. And this different tool or different buttons is very similar to as a front end. If I click on this one here, it's called resume. I'm sorry, here it's pause actually. If I click on it, it will be pause or it will be resume. Resume, that means I want to kind of skip everything. Here, it will be step over. Step over, that means if I have a function here, I don't want to go inside the function. It will step over the function. If I want to go inside specific function, I should click on this one, step into the function. And if I am already inside the function and I want to get out, step out here. And of course, restart. If you remember in the setting, I have restart true. So that's allow me here restart true. So I now at any point, I can restart the debugging again. Let's say I make a mistake and I pass the point where I'm trying to debug. If I want to restart again, it's fine. I can restart here. And of course, here to just stop everything here, stop the debugging here. Okay. Again, as you can see, my debugger is attached. Everything is fine. Now, but why my code is not hitting? Well, your code is not hitting because simply you need to, as a user, need to send a request to hit this route. Okay. So if there is no request, my debugger will not stop. It will not stop at the breaking point. So I need a request from the user. So I will be able to hit this route, which is API, that's the main one, /kit. So what I can do now as a user, let's say I am user now, and now I can send a request to localhost 5004 API get. Notice what will happen when I click on this one. Click, and it's directly taking me to my debugger, as you can see. Now in Windows, maybe it does not do that. All you have to do, you just go to your VS Code, it's fine. And as you can see, it stopped here. Was that exactly what I want? So now here, as you can see, we have variable, we have some local variable, we have cats. It's not defined yet because I did not execute this line yet. I have request, I have response. Both of them are object. I have the keywords, which is not defined here. And of course, I can, if I want to watch any variable, I can add it here. Click as the name of the variable, but I don't want to watch any variable here. So we have local variable, we have global variable, we have watch. We have the call stack. As the call stack is telling me currently I am inside this function, which is called get all. Of course, I have my breakpoint here, as you can see. So that's okay. Now, what I need to do here, I need to know inside this class, I am having a problem, but I don't know where the problem is. And because this one is class and this one is a method, as you can see, I can go inside this method here. So how can I go inside? Well, I can use step into here. So if I click on step into, notice it takes me inside my class. And inside my class, directly taking me to my method here. So get all, I can hover over cats to make sure it's the same as in the browser. If I hover over it, I can see, wow, okay, I have an array and it looks like I have 3 cat ID. It's one, name is Fluffy, breed is blah, blah, image is blah, blah. So I have my data. That's really nice. So, okay, let's complete here. Let's click on this one and go back. Now here, if I hover over my cat, I'm receiving my data. That's perfect. So that means so far I don't have any problem in this part here. I am getting my data. for some reason. Now here, I'm gonna send a response back to the user, and as you can see, I am trying to render this EGS or this template, and I'm passing my cat. So as you can see, if I have it again, I have my data, I'm passing my data. So if I have any problems, that's mean where's the problem, it will be after this point when I execute it. If I have a problem, where's the problem will be? Yeah.
In EGS?
Yes, indeed. Because I've already gone inside this method here, inside my class, I don't have any problem. I'm receiving my cat here. So it's a matter of logical thinking. That means if I have problem after this point, it will be inside my EGS. Now, of course, for the EGS, as you know, it's just you need to, we cannot really go inside EGS, but you need to make sure that your EGS is correctly working. Now, if your EGS is not working, you will have runtime error, and it will show you in the console what's the problem. So don't worry about that. Now here, if I resume, as you can see, click on this one, and now here I go, voila, and here, as you can see, I'm receiving my cat, which is nice. So that's the idea of debugging. The idea of debugging, you need to know first, of course, if you have any syntax error, your VS Code will tell you that you have these errors. These errors are easy to fix. If you have any runtime error, you will see in the console what's the error. Don't be scared from the error. Try to read it. Read it, see in which line, at least, in which file, in which line, because it will save you a lot of time. And after that, if you don't have neither, but your website is not working, that will be logical error. You need to guess. You need to try to understand, okay, I'm sending a request to which one? I'm sending a request to this route. That means which controller it will be hit. So I can go inside my controller and put a breakpoint and then go line by line until I find the solution. That's okay. Now, what I want to do is a second. I will click on this one. I don't want that. I will go to my Explorer. I will go to my route here. I want now to try to get one cat. And of course, because I built the application, I know if I click on this button, it will take me to /API/get/the ID, right? Because I have this structure, which route I will be hitting? Which route I will be hitting? I'm trying to get /ID specific cat.
Second,
which route?
get
of course,
one.
this, yeah. So of course it will be this one. Why? Because I will have /get/ after that I have an ID. Which controller it is? It's get one. I mean, it's quite simple. So all I have to do, just go to my controller, get one. I will put breakpoint here at the top, and I will do the same. So let's try to do it again. Now let's try to click here detail, and if I click detail, voila, as you can see, I stop here. Now what I need to do here, I need to go. So I'm gonna here step over because I don't want to go inside param. I just want to click on this one. And now here I need to check the ID. Do I have the ID? Well, yes, I have the ID. My ID is string as well. See? Fine. Now, after that, now I'm quite sure I am getting the ID, so I don't have a problem with the ID. Now, maybe my problem inside this method here, which is get one. If I want to go inside get one, I need to just use this guy here, which is step into. So click, and now it will take me inside my class here, as you can see. Now, if I want to again go to inside, find one here, which is method util method or function I am using, I need to make sure first, do I have my cat? Yes, I have this parameter. Do I have ID? Yes, I have the ID. I want to go inside this guy as well. So let's go inside this guy, step into, and it will take me to this guy, as you can see. I have my cats, which is good. I have my ID. So let's try to step over now here and check. If I have my cat, I will hover over it, or you can see is a local variable, by the way. It's totally up to you. So you can see it here, or you can just hover over it and it will give you the result. So I'm receiving my cat. I don't have any problem with this function. So if cat here, and as you can see, it's not an empty object, that means it will be truthy, right? It will not be falsy because, as you can see, I have an object, not in. So because I have an object in JavaScript are truthy. That means here, what I'm gonna return? I'm gonna return cat. So what I can do here, I can just click on that now, click on that, or maybe I can step out to get out of this function here. And now here, as you can see, I am out of this function, which was get one. So do I have my cat? Yes, I have my cat. And now here, of course, if I have any problem at this point, that means the problem, it will be inside my EGS, because as you can see, I have my cat, and here every syntax is correct here. So most probably the problem will be with my EGS. And don't worry, if you have a problem with EGS, directly you will see runtime error here in the console. Even in the browser, it will show you the problem and the file and even the line. Well, now I am quite sure this one is working, which is perfect. So now what I can do here, I can resume, click on it. It's gone. Let's go back. And as you can see, I'm getting one cat. Let's go back. Fine. Now, what do I want to do? I want to try now to update a cat. Okay, I need to understand which route I am hitting again. Okay, let's click on this one. And here, let's go to my route. Which route I'm trying to hit when I'm trying to update a specific cat, let's say. When I'm trying to update specific cat, I have this method, which I will get a form. And this one, when I click on it here, it will add my cat here. Let's say I have a problem. I'm clicking on this guy and I don't have the form. So most probably that means I will hit this guy, which is form. That will be this guy here. I have a problem in this guy in case I did not get my form. Why? Because simply when I click on update, I will send the form to the user and it will be /API/add. I'm trying to update or add. Oh no, actually, let me go first to add before that. Let me try to go to add cat. So I'm trying now to add a cat. Now, when I try to add a cat, I should now receive a form here. I should receive a form with inputs here. So let's go here. When I'm trying to click on add cat, I will send the user a form here. That means which controller is controlling this issue. What's the name of the controller?
Add form.
Add form. So I will go to my controller here. Where is add form? That's my add form. And as you can see in add form, actually, I should not have any problem. Why? Because what I'm doing here, I am just passing an EGS template here. And that's mean if I have a problem, it will be inside EGS. That's simply how it is. But let's go to this guy here. I'm going to put a breakpoint here, click. And this guy here, add, it will happen when I have a form. I add the cat and I click on add cat. And then my breakpoint, it will hit. Why? Because if I go back to my form in view, cat form, where is it? I think it's this one. So that's my form add cat. And whenever I click on the button, it will take me to /API/add, but the method is post. That means if I go back to my route, the method is post and it's API/add, so it will hit this guy here when I try to click the button add. That means that's my controller add. And if I go to here, so that's my controller add and I put a breakpoint here. Okay, so this is fine. So let's go to in here, add cat. I am having my form. Let's add a name, the GS. Let's add a breed. Let's add an image. I will just go nice cat. And I can just go to this guy, for example, and copy image address. And voila, I put this guy here. Now here, if I click on add cat, it will send a request, post request to API/add. That means it will hit my controller here, which is add. So let's try to do it. Add, and voila, as you can see, it directly stopped me here. That's what I want to. Now, what I want to do here, I want to step over. Why? Because I don't want to go inside the request.body. So let's step over. And now here I will hover over the name. Do I have the name? Yes. Do I have the breed? Yes. Do I have an image? Yes. Well, as you can see. So I have all three. Because I have all three, all of them are true. So that means I have a name, I have a breed, I have an image. So I will go to if block or else block. Where I go? Will I go to the if block here or else block? It will be executed.
If.
Of course, if, because I have a three. So let me click on this one. And as you can see, I'm going to the if block now. Now, as you can see, I am passing name, breed, image. I'm quite sure I have all three value. If I don't have any of these value, I will not be able to come to if statement here. So what I need to do here, I need to check this method here inside my class, which is add. I'm not sure if it's working correctly or not. So I can step into. So step into, I can just do this button here, which is called step into, click. And voila, now as you can see, taking me to my class. So what this guy is doing here, well, let's step over here. So it's creating an object. Now let me go to my object, hover over it here. See, I have an ID, I have a breed, I have an image, and I have the names. That's everything is perfect. And here I'm just pushing my new cat to the cat. If I click on the cat, it is an array. So I have a method called push, and I am pushing an object. So I don't have any problem here. So let's step over and hover over the new cat. That's my new cat here. Voila. and I have the ID and everything. So let's step out, click on that. I will step out and I will come to this one. And at this point here, I shouldn't have any problem because what I'm doing here, I'm just redirecting. So because I'm redirecting, I'm gonna resume. Voila. And now here, if I go here, should be added, I think. Yeah, so that's my cat, that's GS, and this guy here, if you want to, which is nice. That means everything is working fine, everything is good. Now, let's say I want to update one of these cat. Here, I want to now, I seen add cat, we've seen details. Now I want to update a specific cat. I want to know when I click on this button, which route I'm trying to hit. So actually, it's quite simple. I can even go to my EGS if I want to. So if I go to my EGS cat, whenever I'm trying to update, because that's the update, I will go to /API/update. And I will have the ID here because whenever I'm trying to update something, I should have the ID. So let me go to my route. What is the update? Well, that's the update here. So when I click on this button, I should send a form. And if I go to update form, I am doing nothing inside my controller. I think I'm just sending a form. Where is it? Update form. So maybe it will be interesting actually to try to go through this one. So let's try to click on this one. I want to debug this update form. So now I have this one, but nothing is working. I mean, I have nothing. Why? Because simply you did not click on update. I need to click on update so it will be activated. You need to understand something. All the time, the backend depends on the request. So if there is no request, nothing will happen. Only it will happen when I have a request. If I click on this one, voila, now I am inside my VS Code again. And it will be the same process. So what I can do here, I'm not interested in going in the request.parent because I know that object exists in the body. So what I can do, I can step over. Do I have the ID? Well, yes, I have the ID. The ID is 1. Okay, I'm passing the ID, so I don't have a problem here. But maybe the problem inside this get 1. I don't know. Now, what do I want to do? Do I want to go inside this method or not? If I want to go inside it, you click on this one, which is step into. If I don't want to go inside, I can step over. So it's totally up to me. Let's go inside just to show you. Voila. And now here, what I am doing, find cat. I'm passing the cat. My parameters are correct. ID is correct. And now here, I'm not going through this function find cat. I want to step over it. Do I have my cat? Well, yes, as you can see, I have my cat, so I can step over. Now I want to get out from this function here. I want to go back to my main debugging tool here, to my controller. I can step out, and voila, now I am inside my controller. And here, do I have the cat? Yes, I have the cat, so everything should be fine. At this point, because I have the cat, if I have any problem, it will be from the AGS. Again, if you have a problem in EGS, you will see in the browser, and it will give you a detailed information. So I don't have any problem. Everything is okay. Let's hit resume again. Click on this one. And now let's go here. And as you can see, I have update stuff here. Okay. If I want to change some value here, let's say the name of the cat, the breed, or something like that. If I click on this button, which is update cat, where it will go? Well, let's say I don't know. If I don't know, I can just go to my form here, which I think it's called update form. Now, update form, when I click on the button where I am going, I'm going to API updates ID, but the method is post. That means if I go to my route, I will hit this route here. I'm targeting this route because the method is post and the route is API/update/ID. So which controller should trigger? Which controller should trigger? Update, right? So now I can go to update. Am I going fast or you are with me?
With you.
You are doing good.
We do.
Great.
Good. So now I'm going to put a breakpoint at the beginning of update. Remember all the time, I will not put my breakpoint here. I will put it inside the function here or the method here or the controller first line. Again, now what I want to do, I want to say fluffy cool, and I want to like that. Let's say I will change this one only. Now, if I click on this one, it should actually now hit my breakpoint. Click, and it's hitting my breakpoint. Again, what I can do, I can step over. Do I have the ID? Yes, I have the ID. Also, I can step over those because I'm not, I don't have problem here, and then I can check the value. So let's step over those. Do I have the name? Yes, and that's the new name, by the way. Breed, it's the same, image is the same. I have three, that means I will go to this point here. This guy is the if block. Okay, let's go here. And now, as you can see, if I have a problem in this function here, which is update, I can go inside it. So I have the ID and I have my object, as you can see. So let's go inside it. Let's step into. And as you can see here, I'm expecting the ID. That's my stuff here. I will not go inside this function. So I can step over it. Do I have the cat? Well, yes, I have the cat. And now I will gonna update the cat. So I can just step like that. And here the new cat is being updated. Yes, the breed is the same. And the name is the new name because I changed only the name. Now I want to go out of this function. I want to go to my previous place, my controller. So here I can click on step out to, or step out, click, and voila. At this point, I shouldn't have any problem. Why? Because what I'm doing here, I'm just trying to redirect. So let's hit resume, and now if I go back, and I have fluffy cool, and it's been updated correctly. The last one is delete. So if I click on delete, which route I am targeting? Again, if you don't know, it will be quite simple. Actually, let me remove this breakpoint. To remove the breakpoint, you put breakpoint, just click on it. To remove the breakpoint, you just click on it again, and that's it. So when I'm trying to delete, I can go to my cat here, and that's the delete button. So I'm targeting API, delete, and the ID here. And the method is get. If I don't have the method, it will be get. Let's go to my routes. As you can see, I have this guy. That's the last one here. So whenever I'm trying to hit this route, I'm quite sure the route is correct. This function or this controller will be triggered. So let me go inside my controller again, and I will put a breakpoint here. Voila. So let's now try to target this one. Let's try to delete this fluffy code. If I click on it, voila, directly stop, as you can see here. And now here it's just a matter of going line by line, trying to understand what's going on. So here I'm not interested to go into request. So as you can see, the request is huge object. If I click on the param, by the way, if you hover over anything you want, it will show you what's there. So let's step over, and now maybe the problem in delete. I don't know. So you need to take a guess. If you want to go inside delete, that's okay. Let's go inside delete. I'm not gonna go inside this one because I've already gone. So do I have the cat? Well, it looks like I have the cat, which is perfect. And now I will hit this one. It will filter, then I will return the deleted cat. So I don't think there is any problem here. But if I'm suspecting there's any problem here, I can also go line by line and go inside sysfilter to see what's going on. So I want to step out now. If I to step out, click, I am back here. Do I have my cat? Well, I have my cat. And here I'm just redirecting. So nothing should go wrong actually here. Can remove my breakpoint and I can resume. And if I go back, my fluffy cat is gone. And that's how we debug our application. When you finish debugging your application, what you need to do, of course, you can, let's say I make a mistake at some point, and I want to restart this one, you can restart it again. And see, as you can see, it's automatically restart, and you can send another request. If I want to get rid of it, I can just click on this button, and voila, everything is finished. So I can just remove this launch program and go back to my Explorer, simply like that. And voila. Any question about debugging? Any question about debugging?
So we cannot debug EJS.
EJS normally, when you have a problem, let me show you. Let's just say npm run dev, clicky, and now here I'm trying to go to get. When I go to get, I should hit these cats. Let's say I have a problem here. Let me comment this one, for example. And let's try to do this one here. Let's refresh. And as you can see, it's not what I am expecting. So it doesn't work as I'm expecting here. So I need, what I can do here, I can simply make sure I'm passing the data first. I'm passing the data cat, and I can make sure that will be inside the controller. If I am passing the cat, I can come here and I see what I am doing. I need to review it one by one until I found what's the problem. But I think if I do something wrong here, let's say not for each, I just have 4. That should give me a huge problem here. So let's check it. Voila. So as you can see now, I have a problem, and check all my code, everything, and as you can see now, see, so I have runtime error. So let's see what's the problem here. In GS, as you can see, Agnieszka, what I have is a controller here. It's telling me your problem inside views, inside cats EGS. And line 15 even is giving me the line, see? So what is the problem? It's telling me, see, your problem at line 15, you have something wrong here. And of course, I just need to know a little bit JavaScript, and I know that's okay, that's a problem. The problem is H. So we can't debug EGS, but as you can see, the EGS here, it will show you in the console. It will show you directly at the point you want to, and also it will give you the file you have the problem and everything. Is that okay?
Yeah, but yesterday I had a problem in EJS with update form, and I couldn't find it, and I didn't see any information. And yeah, finally ChatGPT helped me. But could you go to update form?
Just a second. Let me just remove this one. Let me fix this problem first. Let me run my server again. Voila. Update form, this one.
Yeah. And when you have line 12 form, so the closing tag for form, I had at the end of line 12. Could you put it? And we can see if, because I couldn't find.
This one?
No, the 23, line 23.
23.
Yeah, this closing tag for form.
Like
yeah,
that.
I had at the end of the line 12. And I couldn't find a problem. But
yes.
how can I, how can I look for it?
Not always, again, not all the error, all the bug you will have solution for them, because that's simply, it's logical problem. So you should know what you are doing. So, okay. So it doesn't make sense because your form is here. There is some part as a developer, you will learn from experience. And so, yes, maybe you will not get an error in the console. Let's try to go to update. It's update form, right?
Yes.
And as you can see, so yeah, I have this one. Now let's go to update, and it show me the form, right? And here, if I try to
when you click, it's nothing.
It's nothing. True. Let's go here. Actually, yes, true.
So I didn't know what to do. Finally ChatGPT helped me, but
again, it's the same strategy. When you click on this button, what route you are trying to target? If you, let's say I'm trying to target, so I need to know first, let's say I don't know what's the problem. I need to know which route I'm trying to hit. I think I'm trying to hit this post. So what I can do, I can go inside my controller and I trying to, I think, update this one. You go through all of those. If you have no problem at all, no, actually it's not this one, it's this one here. So you go through all of those, and if you have no problem until here, that means the problem, it will be in the EGS. So you define at least where's the problem. Then you can go to EGS, and EGS, matter of EGS, ChatGPT can help you a little bit, but also you need to be able to know, because it's just simply HTML, huh?
Yeah.
So that's HTML. And if you got any problem here, all you have to do, this extension, I think, also should help you. Not with everything. EGS, I think, EGS like that. AGS language support here, which you already have, should help you. Yeah, there's some type of error, as I told you, there are logical error. We don't have any message. We don't have anything in the terminal. We don't have any syntax error. And that's the most difficult to fix. Why? Because we don't have anything. And sometimes to debug this error, it takes us hours and hours. So it's really depend on the experience. It depend on you. So maybe even sometimes I stuck with 2 hours and I cannot find it. So I can ask one of my colleagues, I've been working on that. I cannot find the error. Could you please review it? And by the way, that's not something negative. That's something positive, because you're working on the same code all the time. So for you, everything, you've seen it multiple times. So you cannot see the error. If someone else comes with fresh eye, he can just see the error. You got my point?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's simply debugging. Mas Milano, you happy now? Mas Milano?
Yeah. Obviously I have to try to understand better, but yes, there's well detailed.
Good, very good. Now what do we need to do? It's 9:43. Let's take 10-minute breaks because I need to stop talking a little bit. My throat hurt me. But anyway, after that, we will come back and we will be discussing a little bit about, where is it? We will talk about session and cookies. What the hell are session? What are cookies? How we can use them simply? And why do we need them in the first place? And where should we save the cookie? Where the cookie exists, where the session exists, and stuff like that. Okay? So just in 10 minutes here in 9:55, we just go through that. They're not difficult. We don't use session a lot currently. Well, we can use them, but we don't use them a lot for authentication because now we have GWT, which is JSON more token library, which is much more secure because it provides us with token. We'll go through that and we'll discuss about it. But yeah, enjoy your short break. So today we'll talk a little bit about session and cookies. And in order to use session and cookies, we need two libraries actually. The first one is called Express Session. So if you Google it here, that's Express Session here. And of course, it will show you how to create a session and everything. So it's just a library. I need to install this library. So don't worry, I will already install it in the template now before I ask you to do anything. So let me install this one, which is called Express Session. And also I will need another library to parse the cookie, because if I don't parse the cookie, I will not be able to see them. So here, let's just go here and let's just say cookie parser. I think the name was npm. Yeah, that's cookie parser here. I need this library as well. Click. So first, I'm just installing two libraries. As you can see, the first one is called cookie parser to parse the cookie. Because if I don't parse the cookie, I will not be able to see them. Just like the body. Remember when I said send data in the body, I was not able to see this data. It was in different formats. So I use body parser. And here's the same idea. If I want to see the cookie, I need to use cookie parser. And of course, Express Sessions as a library we will use to create session. So npm run dev, let's run our server. Now, of course, after I install these two libraries, which is cookie parser and the Express Session, I can go to my server. In my server, I remove a lot of stuff. So I just importing Express from Express, .in from .inv. I'm just loading the environment variable. I'm creating the port. I'm initializing Express. I'm parsing the body. And then I'm handling 404, handling the error. I'm not using any templating engine here just to make it simple. And here I'm just listening to the port. That should be simple, right? Any question about this code? Any question about this code? Any question about the code, guys?
No, it's clear.
It's clear. Now what I need to do here, I need to import two stuff. As you know, I've installed two libraries. The first one, it was cookie parser, and the second one, Express Session. So let's try to import both of them in here. So the first one I need to import. So I need to say import session from Express Session, and the second one, it was import yes, cookie parser from cookie parser. So now what I'm doing here, I am importing both library. And of course, because I am importing both library, I will need to use the cookie parser here. I can use the cookie parser here. You can just say parse cookies. And in order to parse the cookie, it will be the same app.use. So as you can see, app.use and cookie parser. I need to execute cookie parser. It's a function here. Just like express.json, same idea. But express.json already exists in Express, but cookie parser does not exist, because that's the reason why I need to install it. Now, I want to create a session here. So let's create a session here. Okay, so the first step was to use this middleware, was the cookie parser to parse the cookies. That means if I have any cookie, I will be able to see them. And now here I will define the session, and after that I will put my code here. Whatever I want, I can put it here. But first I need to know how to define a session. So how can I define a session, or how can I create a session? But first I need to know what is session is, and also what is cookie is. So let's go here. Let's click on here. Where's my escalator? Yeah. So first, what is a session? So that's my server, let's say, and that's my front end here. That's a client. So here, let's say client, and here this is server. Now, the session, we can use it for two main reasons. The first reason, to maintain user data with multiple requests. What do I mean by that? If you remember before, the request, or what we call the client server module, request response module, I told you that when the client send a request, so that's the request, and the server send a response, do I have any connection anymore between the two? So what I'm saying here, for example, this guy send a request from user, let's say user one, send a request to my server, and then I get a response to user one. Does the server remember that, again, if I send another request, does the server remember if I just send a request, it will remember it was user one did this request or not?
No.
Absolutely not, exactly. And that's the reason why I told you, if I'm gonna send a postcard to my friend, let's say, I've sent it one time. The second time I'm going to send a postcard, I just cannot just go to the post and give them the card and tell them send it to my friends. They will not know. I need to put it inside an envelope, and I need to put his address all the time. Why? Because the module client server works this way. So I have a request, I have response, and after that I have no connection, nothing. That it's finished. So there is no data persisting this way. Now, what session allow us to do? Allow us to persist user data through multiple requests. What do I mean by that? So when I create a session, and session is a mechanism on the backend, on the server. So I can create a session here, and in this session, I can save it here in the server with some user information. So here, that's my session. I will name it S. Voila, something like that. And now what I can do, I can send something to the client. So what will be this something here? I send it to the client. Well, this something I send it to client, that's what you call cookie. Okay. So what is a cookie? A cookie is a small size of data. The server send it to the client browser and save it there. And each time the client send the request, this cookie, it will be attached to the request. And like that, the server, because I have this data, the server here, it will remember that, because I already have the session stored, it will remember that, okay, this user is the same user, or it's a different user, and so on and so on. Is the idea clear what I'm trying to explain? Yes, no?
Can you come again, please?
Can I what?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes. Again, let me remove this one here. Now, what is a session? A session is mechanism. It's a mechanism in the backend I just created, and I save some data inside this session. Let's see, I have some data inside this session. Now, what the session can do, whenever this user, let's say I have user one here, and then I have client two, let's see, like that. When client one send a request here, what the session can do, I can create a session. So it's just some data. I can create a session. And then what I can do, when I send a response, so that's a request from user one, I can send a response with some cookies. So cookies is some data. I can store it in the client one browser. Now, the first request is finished. The second request, when this user one try to send another request, this cookie, it will be attached to the request automatically. So it will be attached to the request. And when here the session receives that, it can check, okay, this client has cookies, this such type of cookie, that means it knows that this is a client one from the cookies. Is the idea clear or no? Is the theory clear? Yes,
No,
no.
in the cookies there are useful information for the request and response. So the server knows something about the client.
Yes. So my server need to remember the client here, because now if you go to Facebook, for example, and you click on one page, and second page and third page, you are sending multiple requests. But on Facebook, it remember who you are. It does not every time I click on button, it's log you out, right? So it know who you are. How it know who I am? Well, mostly because they are using GWT, which is JSON Web Token, but we will study that later. Now, in order to do authentication or authorization, or to remember user data, who the user is, I can use different mechanism. So we have session, or we have GWT with JSON Web Token. So I can use token. Token is just a string. And session here also, it's some data I am saving it in the server. And of course, I will need cookie all the time. Why? Because if I go here every time this client wants to send a request, this cookie, it will be attached to the request. And here is the server side, I can get this cookie and try to check if the user, for example, the username, the user ID, and if it's the same, I know like that it's the same user, I know it's logged in, I will keep him logged in. Is the idea clear? No, Daria?
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
Theory is clear. Okay, but don't worry, we'll go now to practice. Practice is a little bit simpler. First, I need to be able to create a session. And remember, the session, we store it normally in our database. If your website using session, again, that's a little bit old technique. It's used in old websites. Still, some company use it. But when we do authentication and authorization, we will use JSON Web Token, because the token is, there is difference between session and token, because token is stateless and here is stateful. So what's happening here between the client and the server, I have some data, and this data is being, sorry for that, this data being transferred every time the client make a request. So some data is going with the request to the server, and someone as a security issue, someone can try to access, for example, whatever the client here or the client browser sending all the time, he can just try to attack this request or get this request to get this information. It could happen. And that's the reason why the token, we use token a lot, because in reality in token, we will have something really strange. It will be very encrypted. It will be just string. Even if any user gets this token and he doesn't have the key, he will not be able to decrypt this data. But let's create our session here first. So how can I create a session? To create a session, all I have to do, app.use. And here in app.use, I need to define my session. So I say session like that. And the session here, it will be, of course, it's a function. And inside it, I will have an object. Okay, like that. So to create a session, what I need to do here, app.use, I will put my session here. Of course, if you go to the documentation, it shows you how to do it. And session here, it's just like body parser. It's the same idea, but it accepts an object of parameter. So what are these parameters? Well, the first parameter here, it will be what we call the secret. So what is the secret? Let's just type secret, as you can see. So we have a key called secret. So what I need to do now, I need to have something secret. So I need to have some random string, something like that here, and I should put it in .inf. So let's create my secret here, secret, or secret key, or whatever you want to call it, and let's write just a bunch of stuff like that. Voila, whatever you want to. So that's my secret here. I will have, it's just a bunch of stuff here, a bunch of number. You can put number, you can put whatever you want to. So that will be my secret. My secret here, it will be inside .env, and that's the reason we should never ever push .env to GitHub. Okay, that's fine. It's not a problem. I have my secret here. Now here, I need to tell the session here, or express session, where is my secret or my secret string or whatever you want to call it. And in order to access it, it's inside .env, so I can access it the same way, process.env. And what was the name I name it? I name it secret. So I can just say here, process.env, dot, what was the name? Secret, like that. Voila. And that's my secret. It looked like I am misspelled secret.
Yeah, but in .env you also misspelled.
No. Voila. I'm gonna correct it, Agnieszka, don't worry. Okay, that's my secret. Now, secret, you can define whatever you want to. So I've defined first my secret here. That's the first parameter. The second parameter here, it's resave. And resave must be false. What do I mean by resave? Don't worry about this one, unknown word. So the resave mean each time the user try to send a request to my server, even if I have session, get another session. But should I create another session? If it's the same user, should I create another session? Again, the session is a bunch of information about the user. Each time the user send a request, should I create a new session or no?
No.
No, and that's the reason why it's false. So that means if I don't have session information, it will create it. But if the user each time send me a request, I'm not gonna create a new session. Okay, that's simply like that. Also, we have some other parameter, I think, save and initialize true. That means if when the user first send me a request and I don't have a session, I will need to create a session here. So save and initialize, that's really simply mean here is if it's the first time I want to create a session. So that's a different parameter I need to provide, simply like that. And session here is just a middleware, by the way. So it's just like app.use, and then cookie parser, and it's a function. And this one is function as well, but it takes a bunch of parameter. And this parameter, as you can see, it will be secret, resave, and save and initialize. And I just need to put this stuff here. That's fine. That's okay. That's fine. That's not bad. After I define those, that's how we define the session. Of course, now I will see how can I access the session, but that's the first step I need to do first. Before now I go to session, now I need to try to do some cookies because I need to understand the cookie. Why cookies are important? Can anyone tell me why cookies are important? Why cookies are important? Guys, I just explained it. Why cookies are important? So the cookie is some data my server sends into the client and save it in its browser. Each time the user sends a request, this cookie attached to the request, and like that, I know it's the same user. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Oh, so why cookies are important? Because if I don't have a cookie, I will not be able to know that this user is the same user. Okay? So let's do first initializing express, I think. So I can just do app. I can just create simple route, and I can name it app.get. And in here, I can name it, for example, slash, let's say set cookie. Set cookie. Now what I want to do, I want to set a cookie. Because this one is request, because this one is route, I will have a request and I will have a response. Voila. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying now to create a cookie in the server, in the client side. So whenever the client send me a request, now I will try to create a cookie in his browser. But how can I do that? Well, to do that, it's actually quite simple. I can just say response dot, and here I have a method called cookie. So the method is called cookie. If I click on it, it's a function. Now what I need to pass here in this function, I need to pass a key and value. So the first parameter, it will be whatever the name I want to name this cookie. So let's name my cookie test. And the value, what do I want to save here? Let's say the value I want to save is my cookie, for example. Or whatever you want to save, or username, or whatever you want to save. So now I'm trying to define the cookie here. And what I want to do here, I can just say response.send. So I've set my cookie, and after that, I can just say res.send cookie set, for example. So what I'm doing here, well, if the user try to access this route, which will be /set cookie, then I am setting a cookie for the user, and I try to access this cookie using, so the name of the cookie, it will be test, and the value, it will be this one. Of course, in normally when we use a cookie, it will be about the user ID or user stuff like that. But here is just an example. So the name of the cookie, that's first I need to pass. The second parameter is the value. And then here I'm sending a response simply like that. And now what we need to do here, we can just go to our browser and try to send a request to hit this route here. So I'm gonna copy this route, and the method is get. So I need to now to go to localhost 4000, and here what is my route slash. I will do this one. Now, if the cookie is being set correctly, I should receive a text called cookie set. So let's try to do it. Let's hit enter. And as you can see, it's telling me cookie set, but I don't see the cookie. Where's my cookie? Well, let's go to application. And as you can see, we have local storage, session storage, and we have something called cookie. If I click on the cookie expanded, click on that, see, test my cookie. So I have a value here, or the name, whatever name I name it, and I have a value. I have domains. The domain, it will be the local host, whatever the domain, the pass is slash, expire, when it will be expire. And here, how much size I have, 13, I think it's in kilobyte. HTTP only. That's mean it will be only, I will get it when I'm using HTTP, which is better. Secure, size, priority, medium, stuff like that. So now I was successfully able to create some cookies here. Can I access the cookie from here? Any idea? I'm not sure, but I think I can get windows.cookies. Cookie. Do I have cookie here? Anyone know how to access? Let me just Google it. Access the cookie in the front end. I forgot the function. How to receive? Yeah, set cookie. I don't want that. I want to see it in the front end. Yeah, how to retrieve cookie in the front end code. Require no, that's not what I want to. How to log the cookies in the browser. Yeah. There was a method, but I forget what it was. No. The browser using JavaScript. How can I list all the cookie? Let's see. Yeah, it's document.cookie. Sorry, my mistake. So I can just say document dot cookies. I should have cookies like that. Yeah, document.cookie. And if I click on that, as you can see, I have test. And so it will be as a string test and my cookies here, as you can see, my cookie. So I am in the front end side. I can also access my cookie if I want to. As you can see, it show me my cookie, the name of my cookie here. Of course, both of them are string and have equal here. So the name is test and the value is my cookie. Okay, so I was successfully able to set a cookie if I want to. In order to set a cookie, all I have to do, I just say response.cookie, okay? And response.cookie here, I need to pass two values. The first value, it will be the name, and the second one, it will be the value, simply like that. Is the idea clear? Yes, no? Do you know now how to save a cookie in the client browser? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Now what I want to do when the user send me a request, I want to get this cookie, because the reality here, when I'm trying to authenticate the user, I need to get this cookie. But how can I get the cookie? Well, let's create another route, and here let's name it app.get again. Let's name the same method here, and let's name it here /get. So here it was set cookie here. Let's name it get cookie. Get cookie, and it must be stringy like that. Yeah, that's strong. So I have this route now, and now what I want to do here, I will have a request and response, because simply it is the route. Now, in order to get my cookie, well, I can say simply const whatever you want to, my cookie, you can name it my cookie or my whatever you want to. I can get it actually from the response. I'm sorry, I can get it from the request. So when the user send me a request, I have another method here inside it, which is called cookies here. So inside the request, when the user send me a request, I have a method called cookies, and here it will show me all the cookie I have. And now what I can do here, I can just log, so we can log my cookie, and here I can send a response, or I can just send it here my cookie, so I can see it in the screen, or I can just type, for example, oh, I got my cookie. Oh, I got my cookie. Fine. So now what do I need to do here? I need to send a request to this endpoint here, which is get cookie. And remember now my cookie is saved here in the client browser. Again, if I go to the application, that's my cookie. So I should receive this cookie in the server side. In order to do so, all I have to do now, I can just, actually let me, no, that's fine. I'm log, actually it's console.log, console.log. Like that. Let me send a request to this one. Click. So set cookies, that's fine. Now I want to get cookie. And if that's okay, I should say, oh, I got my cookie, which is not it's not correct here, should be mine, but anyway, mine. Now, if I go now, as you can see, if I go to the my terminal, as you can see, I have my cookie object. So I have all the cookie I have. Connect SID, that's another cookie. I didn't set, it was set by my another server, but my cookie is here. It's test my cookie. Now, what do I want to do? I don't really want all the cookie. I want my cookie. In order to do so, I will say request.cookies. What was the name of my cookie? It was test, right? And that's what I want. And now all I have to do, I will send another request. And now as you, oh, my cookies. And as you can see, I have the value, which is called my cookie. And that's simply how we can set a cookie and get a cookie. Is the idea clear? Yep. No. Hello.
Yes, but we need to practice to get it better.
But I will give you the whole day to practice. Don't worry. What I want you to know is that we have some method already defined and expressed when I want to set a cookie or when I want to get a cookie. So if I want to set a cookie, it will be in the response. Why? Because I am sending the data from the server to the client. So that's the reason why it will be in the response. And response has a method called cookie, as you can see. And by the way, we have some options. So as you can see here, if you hover over it, it will tell you the name and the value, and you can set the maximum age. So I can set some cookie for a specific time, and after that, they will be expired. So here's the value, it will be millisecond. So I can say maximum age, for example, 5,000. And you need to convert the millisecond 5,000 to second, and it will be 5, I think, if you convert it. Signed the cookie, and also I can define the path here if I want to. So here you can have option if you want to. Not all cookie, for example, we want them to be, not all cookie we want them to last forever. Some cookie I want to stay, for example, for a specific amount of time. But as you can see here for 900, let me make it actually, okay, fine, 900, that's millisecond. If I convert it to a second, it will be 900 second. 900 second, it's how much? It's actually a lot. I think it's in hours. But anyway, this value here, it's in millisecond. Now, what is HTTP only? HTTP only is true. If I go back to my cookies here, see, there is something called, see my cookie here, as you can see, I don't have HTTP only checked, but here it's just the HTTP only. That's me. When I set the HTTP only, it will be more secure. So let's now try also to set another cookie, but I will now clean the cookie and try to set it again with this parameter. And after that, I will try to access them again in the front end and then access them here. Okay. So those are some options. So you can have an option, which will be an object. You can have maximum age. This is in millisecond. That means if this time is finished, so it's calculated, is finished, this cookie, it will be no more valid. HTTP only now we will see what is doing. flags the cookie to be accessible only in the web server. So I prefer to explain it. So what is HTTP only? Now I will show you what's HTTP only. So let's try to set a cookie again, but first I need to clean everything. So let me go here. To clean all the cookie, I just need to click on this one. Well, as you can see, I have no more cookies. So let me set cookie again. I will send the request to this guy, which will be set cookie. Notice, click. And now I have my cookie test, my cookie, and it's HTTP only correct. As you can see, it's checked. Of course, here, it's also now I have expiry time. Why I have expiry time? Well, because simply I have defined a maximum age. And because I define maximum age, I will have simply the date here. So when this date is finished, this cookie, it will be no more valid. What was the command to access the cookie in the front end? What was the command to access the cookie in the document dot to cookies? What do you think I will have? I have nothing. Why? Why I have nothing? Why I have nothing? Before I had, now I don't have. Why? Well, simply because I define HTTP only as a true. That means in the front end, the client will never be able to access my cookie. Why? Because the cookie is some data. What if the client able to access the cookie and then change them? Because if I go to my cookie here, notice, I can change them here if I want to. Double click, I can change them like that, okay? So the user can change this stuff. Of course, I can validate to make sure that the cookie are correct on the server side. So this cookie here, what I'm trying to do here, the client side will never be able to access it using some script. So sometimes there is some script trying to access our website, and they're using document.cookie to get the cookie. But if I define this flag HTTP only, the scripting server, they will not be allowed to access my cookie. So that's better for security. All the time when you create a cookie, it will be better to use HTTP only or to set HTTP only flag as a true. Is the idea clear? Yep. So that's the reason when if I hover over HTTP only, it's a flag, the cookie will be accessible only by the web server. So only by the server, not by the client. Is the idea clear? Yep. No? What's wrong with you guys? Is it not clear? You are sleeping.
Yes,
Oh.
little.
Sleepy, but
Why?
not sleeping.
No sleepy.
It's difficult? Just give me an answer, yes or no, so I can repeat it again. Is it difficult?
Yes.
No, not so difficult, but it's a new
Concept,
thing.
yes.
Yes,
But
so
I will
because of
give you
that.
all. I will give you all the day to practice set cookie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So all we have to do now. Okay, let me write them again. Now let's take a short break.
Okay.
15 minutes. I will go back and I will explain the cookie again. How can we set cookie? How can we get cookie? Because that's important concept. So
Okay, merci.
yeah. So relax for 15 minutes. We'll be back, and after that, I'll explain again cookies. So as you can see here, I'm importing session and parse cookie, but I'm not using them here. Why? Because I want to show you if we don't use cookie parser, what will happen. For now session, I will not need it. I'm working with cookie now, but after that, I will need to create session as well. You need to know how to create a session as well. So how can I set a cookie? Well, to set a cookie, I will simply need some route. So I need the user to send me some request to some route. So I don't have any route here. I will make it very simple. I will just say app.get, for example. You can name it whatever you want. And here as a route, I will name it. You can name it again, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I will just name it set. Why? Because I'm trying to set a cookie. And of course, because it's a route, I will have a function, I will have a request, and I will have a response. Let's have a request and response like that, and voila. So what I'm going to try to do, now I will try whenever the user try to send me a request on this route /set cookie, I want to set a cookie in the user or in the client browser. Do not make it super complex. It's very, very simple. Okay, now, because I'm trying to set a cookie, should I put the cookie in the request or in the response. So you need to understand first where does the cookie, where I want to save the cookie. Just answer my question, where I want to save the cookie. Hello, guys.
The browser?
In the browser, that means it's the client, right?
Yes.
So the browser is the client. That means I cannot use request. Why? Because the request is coming from the user. Now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to send some data to save it in the client server. So I need to use the response. Just logically, I need to use the response because my response is going to the client browser. So I can just say res.cookie. So as you can see, I have a method called cookie. So this method here, it will help me to set any cookie I want to. So this one here, I take at least 2 parameters. The first parameter, it will be the name of the cookie. What do you want to name it? Let's name it my cookie, or name it whatever you want to. And the value, let's name the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example, whatever I want to. Okay, now did that. Set my cookie. Now I need to send a response to the user because here I'm just setting the cookie. I'm not sending a response to the user. I can just say res.send cookie is being sent. It's just a text here. So now any client try to access or try to hit this route, I will set a cookie, and then I'm sending the response to this user. And when the response goes to the user, it will save this cookie in the client browser. How is that? I mean, this method is doing here. This method cookies, it will set this cookie for you. That's okay, that's fine. So let's go to this route and see if that's okay or not. Now, if everything is okay, I should see cookie set text inside my browser. So let's try to send here. Let's delete this one. Voila. Put the route because the route was set cookie, click. And as you can see, cookie set. Because I have cookie set, now I'm quite sure that my cookie is being set. How can I see my cookie? Well, you can go to application. And if you go to the application, you see my cookie, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And of course, as you can see, HTTP only, it's not checked. That means I can access this cookie, the client can access this cookie if he wants to. So for example, if I say document.cookie, cookie like that, and as you can see, I have the cookie, I can see the cookie, this one here. Of course, if I go back, this cookie here, it is HTTP only checked. That's the reason why the client cannot access this cookie, but it can access this one because the HTTP is not being set as a true. So what I want to do now, I want the user here not be able to get my cookie. So how can I do that? Well, I can pass a third parameter, which will be an object. I can define maximum age if I want to. So if I want the cookie to be valid for 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, it's up to me. But just remember the unit here, it's millisecond. So you need to convert it 1 hour, 16 minutes. You need to convert it to second. So it's 3,600 seconds. Then you need to convert it to millisecond. So it will be 3,600 with 30 as well, because this unit here is millisecond. Okay, now I will define HTTP as a true. As you can see, HTTP true. And maximum age is really depend on what I want. I just check this number here. It's fine. Now, if I go to here and try to delete this cookie and refresh again, it will send another request. Voila, cookie set. Now, if I try to access the cookie again, I can access it. As you can see. Is the idea of setting cookies clear? Yes, no. You just need to use one method on the response, which is called cookie. That's it. This method, this function, or this method, it takes at least 2 parameters. The first parameter, whatever you want to name the cookie, and the second one, any value you want to. And of course, you take a bunch of optional parameter here if you want to be HTTP only true. Try always make HTTP only true, like that. If there's any script running in the front end, it will not be able to access your cookie. Yes? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Now, I was able to send a cookie or set a cookie in the client browser. Now, I want to be able, whenever the user send me a request, I want to be able to get this cookie. So how can I do that? So let me create another route, app.get again. And here I will just name it get cookie. Get cookie. Why? Because I'm trying to get the cookie. And of course, because it's a route, I will have a request and response. And now, logically, if I have any cookie, or if the client has any cookie, the cookie, it will be automatically here, this cookie, it will be automatically attached to the user request. So whenever the user or the client send the request, this cookie, it will be attached to the request. And now if to get them, I can get them from request. So for example, I can just recall my cookie or whatever you want to call it, my cookie. It will be request dot cookies, as you can see. What was the name? Of course, this one, cookies, is an object. And I can show you, of course, like that. So it will be an object. And here, because I can set multiple cookie, not just one cookie, I can set multiple. Even here, I can set another cookie if I want to. So if I duplicate this one, no, how can I, what was the duplication? Yes, it was like that. I can say my cookie 1, and I can name it my cookie 2. And now if I go here and I delete those and set cookie, refresh again. So I have, as you can see, I have 2 cookies. So I can have multiple cookies. Now to access them, of course, I will need to access the request. There is a client request because it saves there automatically. Request.cookie is plural because it's an object. So let's try now to hit this route. When the user sends the request to this route, I should be able to get the cookie. So let's try to see if that's the case or not. Now, if I say get cookie, I have some problem, I think. See, I have some problem. What's the problem? Can anyone tell me what's the problem? Am I sending a response? Am I sending a response?
No request?
No.
No, so I need to send it. Let's say got my cookie, like that. Let's try now to hit it again. So let's go back here. Let's try to hit this route again. And I got my cookie. So let's go to see my cookie. But I don't see my cookie here. Where are my cookies? Am I logging them? No, I'm not logging them. So let's log them. My cookie here. And let's try again. So I'm just trying to get my cookie from the request. And there is a method or a property called cookies, but it is an object. And now I'm just trying to log it to see what cookie I have. So let's try to send the request again. Refresh. If I go here, I have undefined. Why I have undefined? Can anyone tell me why I have undefined? Why I have undefined? Remember when I would try to parse the body, I also had undefined, so I have to use those. I have to parse the body. Why is the cookie I cannot have my cookie? Why I cannot see
you didn't parse the cookie.
Is that the idea? So that's the reason why I need this library, because I need to parse the cookie. If I don't parse the cookie, I will not be able to simply to get them. And now here, if I send another request, click, and if I go here, as you can see now, I have an object, because cookies here is an object. My cookie 1 and my cookie 2. So it depends on you which cookie you want to access. Let's say I want to access my cookie 1. I don't want my cookie 2, for example. So I can just add a name, my cookie 1. And now here, if I try to send another request, voila, now as you can see, I'm getting my cookie 1 as a value. Of course, I know what's the name or what's the key here. That's the name, my cookie 1. And the value is 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we can get cookie. Is the idea clear? It should be
And
clear
how-
every. Yeah.
And how to receive it with the key value on the console?
Well, if you want to receive, you can just log this object here. Cookies. If you log the cookies, you will receive everything. So let's send it again. And now here, as you can see, you have key and value inside the object if you want to.
Can I
Okay.
have only one in the object? But
No.
with the key and the value, no?
No, because what's doing here, when I say request.cookies, it will give me all the cookie which is stored in the request on the client server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
That's simple. Okay, that should be fine. It should be fine. Is the idea clear now? So is it clear how to set a cookie and how to get a cookie, and why do we need cookie parser? Should be clear, guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now I need to be able also to delete a cookie if I want to. But can I delete a cookie? Well, of course I can. Let's create another route. I will name it app.get, and here I will name it clear cookie or delete cookie, whatever you want to. Delete. It must be string / delete cookie. So if I want to delete a cookie, also I will have a request and response because it's a route. Clicky. Voila. So actually the idea, it's quite simple. All I have to do now when I'm trying to delete a cookie, I can use the response again. So I just say res dot and I have something called clear cookie method. Clear cookie. But here I need to pass what's the name of the cookie I want to delete, because maybe I have, it's, as you know, the cookies here is an object. Maybe I have a lot of cookies in the client browser. So I need to tell, of course, I'm sending a response and I'm saying clear this cookie, and I need to provide the name of the cookie. What was the name of my, I think it was my cookie one, if I'm not mistaken. So now if the user try to hit this route, it will delete the cookie, simply like that. So let's try to hit it. I need to send a response actually. Yes, dot send cookie is deleted. So let's try to check if that will work or not. Click. Do that. Voila, and let's hit. And as you can see, cookie is deleted and I don't have my cookie one, as you can see. So as in the server side, as you can see, we can set cookie if we want to. How? Well, we can use the response, and here response.cookie, I need to pass, as I told you, key, the name of the cookie or the key and the value I want. And here we have optional parameter. Here, HTTP only, you should always make it true, unless for some reason you are in development, you are trying to access it. But all the time, HTTP must be true. It's more secure like that. If I want to get a cookie, of course, I will get it from the request.cookies. Remember here is it's cookie, here's cookies. Why? Because I may have multiple cookies saved in the client browser. And here cookies, it will be an object with all the cookie I am receiving. If I want to delete a cookie, I will use the response again, res.clear cookie, and the name here or the key or the name of the cookie. And simply like that. And that's how we can set cookie, get cookie, and delete cookie. Clear? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give you time, of course, to practice it all the day, so don't worry about that. Now let's go to session. We've known now what's the cookie. Let's try to create a session as well. So the session, as I told now, what's the difference between session and cookie? Can anyone tell me? What's the difference between a session and cookie?
A session ends when you close the client.
Yes, but there is some other difference. That's right. That's right. But there is really huge another difference here. Where they are stored. Where is the cookie stored? The cookie stored.
Cookie in the client. And
in the client here, in the client. And where is the session stored?
in server.
In the server. Voila. So there's a big difference between the two. This one, the cookie, we save it in the client browser, but the session is being saved on the server. And that's important. Okay, that's one. The second difference is I can delete, as you know here, from the server, I can create cookies, create or set cookie. I can delete a cookie and I can get the cookie. I can get everything in my server side. And for session here, remember something. So when I create a session in the server, as long as the user, the client, is his browser here, his browser is open, the session will be alive. But when he closes this tab, the session will be terminated. So the session has specific lives. A session mean I am inside this browser here, let's say, and I'm doing my stuff. When I close my browser, the session will be terminated. But well, that's why they call session, because the session here, it will depend on when the user trying to access your website, and when he closes the browser, the session it will be terminated. As the cookie here, it's really depend. The age of cookie depend what you want. You can make the cookie live for a very long time or very short time. It depends on you. What do you want using the maximum age? If you don't use the maximum age, I think the cookie here will depend on the session as well, if I'm not mistaken. So if I don't, if I remove maximum age like that, maximum age, I did not set an age. Let's go back. Not you. Let me delete all of those. And let me just set cookie. Set cookies like that. And as you can see, the expiry is the session. So if I don't define the age of the cookie, its validation, it will be during the session. That means as long as the user open his browser, when he closes his browser, this cookie, it will be terminated. Well, but of course, I can play with the age. If I want it to last for a very long time, I can add maximum age here, and I can define it in milliseconds. Just remember the unit is millisecond. Is the idea clear? What's the difference between cookies and session? Also, cookie is very, very small size. The size is kilobyte. Actually, the maximum size of cookies, I think we have, it will be around 4 to 8 kilobyte. So kilobyte is very, very small. Yep. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so let's now try to practice our session. Of course, to use the session, just like cookie here, when I try to get the cookie, I need body parser. If I want to create a session, I will need this setting. So I will need to use express session first. That's the library. And here I will need to say app.use session. It's just, as you can see, it's a middleware. And here I need to pass some property. Secret here, I will need a specific secret key, which I will use this secret key to try to, every time the user or the client try to send me a request, I will depend on this secret key, or the session will depend on this secret key to make sure that the user did not make any changes in the session. Resave, I don't want to resave it each time the user send me a request. But if there is no session here, if the user is new, I should create a session. So it's just some setting all the time you're going to use them. That's it. Okay, let's now get rid of the cookies. I don't want the cookies, so let me comment those. Now I want to play a little bit with sessions. So I want to be able to create a session. So how can I set a session, and how can I get a session? So set session and get session. Why I don't have delete session? Why do I don't have delete session?
If you close the page, it will be deleted.
Again, I did not understand you, sorry.
If you close the page, it will be deleted.
Yeah, any other explanation why I don't have to clear the session? What is the age of session I told you? What is the age of the session? As long as the user in the browser, his browser is open, the session will be alive. When the user closes his browser, what will happen to the session? What will happen to the session if the user closes his browser?
Be delete.
Yes, it will be terminated. So as you can see here in the session here, it's the name is session. Session means as long as the user is the browser. As long as he did not change the browser. If he closes the browser, the session is terminated automatically. And by the way, the cookie is the same idea if I don't define the age. So when I don't define the age, it will be sessions. That means as long as the user in his browser, if he closes his browser, the cookie, it will be deleted. If I don't specify the maximum age. But here, the cookie here, I can play with the age if I want to. For session, I don't need to, because as the name suggests, sessions, that means as long as the user in the session is in browser, when he closes his browser, the session will be terminated automatically. Is the idea clear? Yep. No.
Yes.
Okay, so let's now try to set a session, and after that I will try to get the session. So I will need a few route here. So app.get, same idea. And here I will name it set session, just like we name it cookie. So I will name it set session, set dash session. And here simply, I will, because it's a route, I have a request and I have a response. And voila. So how can I set a session? Well, I can use the request. So I can just say request dot session. So as you can see, I have session dot session, and now I can name it whatever I want to. What do I want to name the session here? What property? The session, by the way, it's an object. Now I can attach property. What property I want? Let's say user. I will add user here. User, and user is John Doe. And now here, of course, I need to set a response and say, for example, session is being set. Again, app.get set session. I have a request and response. Request.session. A session is an object. Now I want to add a property. Let's say username or user ID. Most of the time I use user ID because the ID is unique. So here I don't have any ID or anything. So I'm just adding user John Doe. And I'm sending a request. So now let's try to see, copy this one, and let's go try to set a session. So clicky, the session has been set, but why I cannot see the session? Why I cannot see the session? Why I cannot see the session? Yeah. Why I cannot see the session? Come on, guys. Where are the sessions stored? Guys.
In the server?
Yes, because they are stored in the server. I'm saving it in the server. The client here cannot access my session. I will not see the session here at all. So the idea here is when I create the session, well, the sessions will be stored in the server. It will not be stored in the client. The client cannot access it. But what if I want to get the session now? Well, let's try to create another route. App.get, and here I will name get session / get session. Like that. I need to put it in a string. Like that. And request response. And in here, okay, now what do I want? I want the user. So how can I access it? Well, same idea as that I set it. I will say const my user. It will be equal to request dot session. Where's my session? It's here. What was the name of my session? Oh, shit. Sorry for that. Request dot session dot user. The name was the name of my session here, or the property I saved in the session was user. And now here I access it. Let's log it, and then here let's send a response. Get session like that. Now what do I need to do here? I need to go to this one here. Let's go to get session. I'm logging it, I think. Log it. Voila. And now if I go here, user is not defined. Why? What I'm doing wrong? Am I giving it a value? Yes, I'm giving it a value. Session. What I'm doing here, app.get set session. So it's request.session dot user, and I'm saving the user, which is good. And then I'm trying to get the session. I'm saying request.session dot user. So I should have them actually. Why they're undefined? Not sure why they're not defined. I don't think I make any mistake. Let me uncomment those. That's not related to it. Let's try to do it again. Let's try to set session, then get session. Set session. Session is set, and now let's try to get the session. Get session. And I should be able to get the session. Voila, I am getting it. I don't know what's the problem. And as you can see, I have John Doe. Voila. So what do I want to do now? Well, what I want to do now, I will have, let's say I will have a user. Let's say that's user. And of course, I don't have multiple devices to log in. So I will have one. Maybe I can use different browser, but the idea here, let's say now, as long as this guy here, as long as I did not close this guy here, and when I'm trying to get the session, I will be able to see the session. As you can see, I will be able to get the user ID, the user name, the user everything. Every time the user send a request, I will know that this is the same user, as long as he did not close his browser. And as you can see here, even though that I am not doing anything, I've just created the session. Now, in the server side, I know that this user here is the same user send me a request. So what I can do here, I can go into here, let's say, I'm setting the session, now I'm getting the session. So what I can do, I can send a response, for example, and I can say, session get user John Doe, for example. Let's click on it. Let's go here. Let's get the session. And undefined. Why is undefined again? Yeah, because not sure why it's not defined. Request.set.user. It's setting, and then here I am getting it. So it should be okay. Let's try to set it again. Not cookie session. Set session. Session is set. Now let's try to get the session. And voila. So now every time, as you can see, I told you before the request response module, how it works. Every time the client sends a request, now it will receive a response and finish. It will remember nothing here. Nothing it will be remembered. But when I use session here and the session is stored in the server side, now I can remember some information. So every time the request, the same user send a request, I know I already have some information about the session is being stored. So I know it is the same user, as you can see. I will be able to know it's the same user as long as the user did not close his browser. When he closes his browser, the session, it will be terminated. So what is the idea of the session? Well, simply the idea of the session, as you can notice here, it helped me to remember that this is the user. Every time the same user send me a request, I will know that it is the same user. Is the idea clear? So now every time, as you can see, I'm sending multiple requests, click, 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 click. I know it will be the same user, and I know it will be John Doe. But what I can do now here, I can add something better here. So what I can do, I can make some check here. I can say if request.session and request.session.user, like that, then I can do something. Then I'm gonna console.log this one like that. Voila. And actually I need to copy all of it. Voila. And here, let's say else, session not set. So why I'm doing that? Well, as I already know to get the session, I need to have the session stored in a request.session. So first I need to make sure that the request.session exists. That's why I'm saying if there is a request.session and also I have request.session.user, because I'm setting it here. So if I have both of them, then what I'm going to do here, I will say I will try to grab the user, and then I'm trying to send session get and the name of the user. But if I don't have it, I will just send. I can say here request.send session is not set, or what I can do here, I can redirect it to set session if I want to. So what I can do here, I can just say status. No, not 404. I can say 302, and here I can redirect to, let's just say redirect to, what was it? Set session. Did you understand what I did here? Did you understand what I did here? Yes, no? Hello? But it's very similar to cookies. It's just I cannot see them as a client side. It's the same idea. Okay, again, what are sessions? Well, sessions are some information saved on the server. Cookies are saved on the client side. Okay, how can I set the session? Well, it's simple. Request.session, which is an object, and here I can save the username if I want to. Or maybe I can make it an object if I want to. So I can just make it an object and I say name and email, blah, 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 for example, at gmail.com. Voila, so I can save multiple stuff here. That's fine. Now, what I want to do here, here I cannot send an object, I think. What I can do, I can just say user.name. And here I can just say user.email. Voila. Okay, so what I'm doing here? Well, I'm trying to, in this route, I'm trying to set a session. So I will say request.session, and I'm attaching to the session, which is an object, some data about the user, because that's what I want to. I want in the session to remember information about the user ID, username, user email. I will not need this stuff. So I'm saying request.session, and here's the user, and the user, it will be object. Then I'm sending some stuff. I'm saying session is being set. When the user try to access get session, okay, in this route, so I will make sure that there is request.session. That means the session exists on the request, and also user exists on the session. If the user exists, then I'm trying to get the user. Then here I don't need to log the user, I suppose, because here I'm sending some information about the user. So I'm sending here what? I'm sending user.name and user.email. But what if I don't have session, or I don't have session.user? That means the session is not being set yet. I did not set this session yet. So I want to redirect to set session here so the user be able to set the session. Is the idea clear? Yes? No? Are you trying to give me a heart attack?
No.
Okay, let's first try to set a session here. Let's set session. So if I click on this one, the session is being set. Now let's go to get session. Get session. If I click on it, session is set. So it's making another one. I don't want to set session. I want to get session. Get session. And click. Yeah, but why is redirecting all the time?
I think line 61. You need and.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah. And I'm mistaken. Voila. So here I'm checking if there is session and there is request.session.user object, then I'm doing that. Let's go again. Let's try to set a session. Pick. Session is being set. Let's go to get session. Get session. Click. And as you can see, session get John Doe and the email here. And voila, now I'm getting my session. Now this information, it will stay as long as the user is, they will be saved on the server as long as the user is on the browser. If he closes his browser, of course, the session, it will be lost. It will not be valid anymore. Remember, if you save this file, what NodeMon is doing is restarting your server. That means the information is being lost. Because here I don't have a database yet, so I'm not really storing the database yet. So I don't have a way to store them. So whenever you save something, NodeMon is restart your server, so the information is being lost. That's the reason when I'm trying to set and I'm save anything here, it's asking me to set again. Is it clear now what are cookies, what are session, what's the difference between them, and how to set a cookie, get cookie, clear cookie, how to set session and get session? Yes, no? Hello?
Yes.
Very good.
Can we save it in logs?
This one, we don't save them in logs. The session, normally, it's sensitive information, as you can see. So because they are sensitive information, normally we store them in the database.
Okay.
So actually we encrypt them, so we don't store them this way. We just kind of, we have some library to make it like a string 1, 2, 3 like that. So we convert it to something else, and then we store it in on the database here, the session. But here we will not use that because simply we will use GWT. It's a very good idea, by the way. Some websites still using session to do so. But the most popular way now, and by far it's better way, is to use GWT, JSON Web Token. Why? Because the token normally, we will see it tomorrow. The token normally, when we construct our token, it will not be, so we don't have really some data to transfer between the client and the server. We have some data, but they're kind of already converted into form, like no one can decode it. So it's very secure. GWT is very secure and is more scalable, and that's the reason why we will use GWT to authenticate the user. Yes.
And
but of course, it's yeah.
There is also something like local storage.
Yes, I'm gonna explain local storage now. But do you understand the cookie now? What's the cookie? How to create a cookie and session? Did you understand them well? Yes, because now after that, I will ask you to build what I built here. So you need to be able to set a cookie. You need to be able to get a cookie. You need to be able to delete a cookie, and the session is the same idea. I will before you use a template, I will install these two libraries for you, which will be cookie parser and express session. And after that, you need to just write this simple code which I wrote here. You need to just use cookie parser. You need to use session and pass this parameter, and then try to set cookie, get cookie, delete cookie, set session, and delete, set session and get session. Okay? Yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Great. Now let's go to the storage here. Now, normally, we have in the browser, we have different type of storage. What is the storage? Well, the storage is some data I want to store them. Now, of course, normally we do not store sensitive data as a client side. Why? Because if we store it, everyone can access it. If I save anything in the local storage, I can see whatever it is. Session storage, same idea, I can see it. And cookies here, even the cookie, I can see it here. Yeah, I mean the value, as you can see, when we use GWT and we have a cookie, the value, it will be something like that. So even if you see it, you will not know what it means. So the idea, that what will be when we use GWT. So we will have something like that. Even you have the value, I mean, you don't know what it is. You cannot decrypt it if you don't have the secret key, of course. Okay, so what's the difference between local storage, session storage, and cookies? Can anyone tell me what's the difference between the three? What's the difference between the three? What's the difference between local storage, session storage, and cookies? Come on, guys. Local storage is persistent. That means it will save your data for whenever you want. If you don't delete it, it will never be deleted. Okay? Local storage has a little bit more size. Not that huge size, but a little bit more size compared to session storage and cookies. Session storage, as the name suggests, I can store the data as long as my browser is open. If I close my browser, everything in the session storage, it will be deleted. And cookie here, it's really depend. Cookie, it's very small size, so you can store very small size here in the cookies. And the cookie, as you've seen here, we can create the cookie on the server side. Their age depend on you. You can make their age long or short, or if you don't define the age, it will be the same as session storage. That means if the user close his browser, it will be deleted. Is the idea clear? Yes, no.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's try to, normally for us, we will never store, we will use cookies when we try to validate stuff. So some developer, by the way, you store some data in session storage or local storage. That's not a good practice. Local storage and session storage, no. Cookie, we send. I mean, when the user try to log in, we send a cookie. And of course, when we send the cookie here, it will be in form of string like that, this value. So it will be encrypted, especially when you use GWT. So the user, even if, yeah, I can see them, but it doesn't know what it means. Now, how can I use local storage? It's super simple. So in local storage, all I have to do, I can just say local storage, as you can see. Local storage dot. So local storage is an object. I can say set item. So set item, it's also key and value. So I can say name, key, and I will need a value. Let's name it Jack. No, it is comma actually. Comma, Jack, like that. And if I do so, and I click on it, voila. And now here, if I go to my application, to my local storage, voila, I have name Jack. So as you can see, I can set any item I want to. Also, I can get item if I want to. So here, local storage dot get item, and get item. Here, I need to pass the name of the item. So it will be the key, which will be name. If I pass the name like that, and here it will give me Jack, as you can see. And we have few methods actually. I think we have clear as well. So as you can see, if I say local storage, as you can see, it's an object. Now it saves this one. If I say local storage dot remove item, I think the method is, yeah, remove item, and I need to pass what was the name of the item. The name was name. Voila. Delete. And here, if I go now to application, and currently, as you can see, I don't have anything. Now for session storage, so there is only 3 or 4 methods in the local storage. In session storage, we have the same method, but we don't call them local storage. So it will be session storage. Same idea, same method, but the name is different. Also set item, as you can see. So I have set item and the same idea. Also, I have get item, as you can see. It's the same use exactly. And also I have remove item, as you can see. So there's the same method using the same way, but here just we say local storage to save something. Set item, get item, remove item, same but with local storage and session storage. They are doing the same. As for cookies, of course, the cookie is being created from the server side and sent to the client side. And of course, we can see our cookie if you want to, if you use a document. Of course, if they are not secure, document dot cookies like that. If they are not, if the HTTP only is not set to true, and here, as you can see, I cannot see any cookies. Why? Although I have some cookies here. If I go click here, I have this cookie, but the problem is the HTTP only is being checked as a true. That means I cannot access it here. So I will not be able to access it in my JavaScript. Of course, the user will be able to see the cookies here, as you can see, and the user may be able to edit as well. But the problem is, if the user edit even one character to this cookie, when I receive this cookie on the backend, when we use GWT, and the library will validate this one, it will try to decrypt it. And if the user even change one character, it will say that the cookie is not valid. And like that, I will know that the user did not change anything. This is using a very high decryption here. So if the user even change one thing, it will not be valid anymore. You got my point? So let's go to GWT NPM. We will study that in detail tomorrow. But when we use this guy here, so as you can see here, we need to sign something. And after that, we will have a secret key. And of course, whenever you receive the data, we need to validate them here. Let's go here. Let's go here. You can also add a secret. You can add expiry. And they're using different algorithms. Some of them are very complex. You don't need to worry about the algorithm, of course. But some of them are really high encrypted. That means it's almost impossible for the user try to decode them. And we use this method GWT verify. So I will have a token which will come in from, which will be part of the request the user sending. I will have the token, which will be a string. And after that, I need to pass the secret key. And what the library is going to do, it will validate it. And if it is valid, it will be valid. If it's not valid, it will say it's not valid. Okay? So don't worry, GWT is very secure. We're going to use it. It's really fun. It's very secure. And most of the application, at least with Node, we are using it. So, yeah. What else do I have? Let's see, GWT documentation. So if I go to, yeah, that's it. And if I go here, so as you can see here, I will have, that's what we call the token. So the token is bunch of character stuff like that. They are separated by dot and dot here. So actually, my token is being divided into 3 parts. The 3 part here, this is the first part here, from here to here, it will be algorithm. So what type of algorithm we are using here? It's called HS256. You don't have to worry about it. The type here is JSON Web Token. And so here is just a type of algorithm here. And then here we payload. The payload is the data I'm trying to save. Mostly it will be the user information, the user ID, the user name, something like that. So it will be the user object. Like that, I will know that this user is being logged in already or not. And then after that, I will have the verify signature here. It will be this signature here. Now notice something. If I change, even I add something here, see, it's invalid signature. Directly, if I change only one character, or if I remove one character, it will tell me it's not valid. It was 6 if I'm not mistaken. So GWT is quite secure. As you can see, it's used high algorithm encryption. It's quite secure. It will be nice to use it. And it's not that difficult. Of course, you can use different algorithms, as you can see. Some of them are very complex. If you go down to 512, it's even more secure. But I think for our application 256, it will be great. Question? Do not worry about GWT. We'll study tomorrow. Question? No? Okay, so now what do I want from you to do? What I want you to do now, let me go to backend. I will update the template repo, which is here. And here, you don't need a lot of this information, actually. Yeah, it's the minimum you have here. So you need to import Express session. You need to import cookie parser. And then after that, you need to use cookie parser. You need to use session. And then you need to pass a different parameter. This parameter here, what was the parameter? So first it will be the secret, which will be the secret key. You need to access it. You need to put it in .inv. And the second one, it will be resave, which will be false. And the third one, it will be save and initialize. That's mean if I don't have session, I want you to create it. So it's 3 parameters. After that, you need to be able to set a cookie. So you can create different routes, just like I did. Set cookie, get cookie, clear cookie or delete cookie. And after that session, create set session and get session. But let me install the library for you here. So you'll work today, it will be only inside the index.js. npm I, so it was cookie parser. And also I need express dash session, right? Session, let's see. Let me go to package.json. So as you can see, I have cookie parser, express session. You have both now. Get status, get add, get commit, update package.json, git push. Voilà. I'm gonna stop the recording, I suppose.